From now on, we're going to be focusing just on marriage and the family. Much happier news. First, every individual we know is created by God for a purpose. Ephesians 2:10 says, we are His workmanship. We are His craftsmanship, created in Christ Jesus for what? For good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. What are those good works? Let's begin. Genesis 1:28 says, then God blessed them, and God said to them, be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it. If you look at the law of first mention, in a sense, the very first command given by God to man is this. And then He repeats it over 30 times in different forms throughout the Bible. The same thing, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. This command has never been rescinded, folks. We are called to be fruitful and multiply first. And I've come to realize that there's nothing greater that you can do in your life. Nothing greater. You could be Billy Graham. You could lead thousands of people to the Lord. But the greatest thing that you can do is raise up your family, your children and your family, to follow in the ways of the Lord. It's the first command you're given. If you do that right, I think God will bless all of your other works. Proverbs 18 says, he who finds a wife has a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. But times have changed, haven't they? Radically. In my lifetime, and this is the reason, one of the reasons that I'm standing here right now doing this, is because I am so burdened by the way things were and the way things are now. I've watched the society change. Some facts. If you were to go back to 1960 and do a survey of those that were between the ages of 18 and 24 years old, what percentage do you think of them would have been married? What percentage of the 18 and 24-year-olds in America were married in 1960? Yeah, 48%. Almost half. And consider this, that from 1960 all the way back to the beginning of recorded history, that's probably one of the lower percentages. But in 2010, 9. In 50 years, we have taught ourselves that we're not supposed to be getting married and having children. How do we do this? Females 18 to 24, 82% were married in 1960. 2010 has dropped all the way down to 44%. That means the average age for a man in 1960 to be married was 23. Now it's 29. For the women, it was 21. The women now, it's 27. That means 6 prime years of life where men are involved in their peak sexual interest and women in their peak years of fertility, gone. Just gone. This is a subtle influence that has been taking us down. Today, our young men are encouraged to stay a bachelor basically forever, or at least wait until they've, tested the waters, sown their wild oats, just try different women until you find the one that's right. We see that on the sitcoms, we see that in the movies, we're taught that in the education system. We need to fight against that, folks. We need to stand up and say, no, absolutely not. Not for me, not for my family. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. The pursuit of personal pleasure or of a career takes precedence over everything else. Isn't that true? So the result is that many young people today end up hooking up many times before marriage. And that leads to children out of wedlock, single parenthood, and the emotional scars that follow all of that. God designed the intimate relationship of sex to be something that is so bonding that when you start having multiple relationships, every time you come that close to somebody, there's a bond that's created. And if it's, you break up and you're pulling yourself apart and you lose trust, you lose the ability to trust. You lose the ability to fall in love because you're afraid. And then, of course, because you're doing that, you have this natural mechanism in your heart that causes inner guilt. So all of these things are terribly hurtful to us.